Hey everyone, welcome to today's conversation. I appreciate you tuning in. My guest today is a rising star in the world of country music. But as we learned back in the summer of 2024 when he last joined me, he has one minor flaw. He does. He packs too many great songs into every one of his albums. So please welcome back to the conversation, Trey Calloway. Trey, how you doing?
Mr. Miller, I am fantastic. It's great to be here again with you, buddy.
Oh, it is my pleasure. And I had a blast when we got together back in 2024, Trey. And at the time, looking back, you had been nominated for a truckload of Josie Music Awards, and you were just a few short weeks away from getting married. So, have you been since then?
Things have been great, man. I can't believe it's been that long since I've seen you. So we got married and we went on our honeymoon to St. Lucia, which was fantastic. We've already celebrated our 1 year. We went to Las Vegas for that and had a
Oh,
blast and
nice.
drove out to the Grand Canyon. I've been singling out all the singles from this new album we just released, and then we finally packaged the whole thing up and redistributed it and re-released it. Already working on my next one. Got some big shows coming up, man. It's actually pretty incredible to see. When I came to Nashville, God, about 4.5 years ago now, I had no idea that it was going to end up doing what it's doing, man. And it's just been a crazy ride. I'm getting everything I ever wanted. They're trying to work me to death, but I'm happy. That's what I wanted, you know. And now I've kind of pivoted a little bit. I was playing a lot downtown in Nashville, and I still do that, about once a month. But I really, somewhere at the beginning of this year, said, "Man, I'm missing being on the road, man. I'm missing going out and traveling and playing."
Mm,
So I've kind of pivoted and turned my attention to booking those road shows. So if there's anywhere down in Florida, Bill, man, you tell me where to come, and I'll come down there and
okay.
play. Yeah,
No,
I don't mind if it's a little honky tonk where I just set up my PA with my acoustic guitar and go to town. I don't mind, no matter how big the gig is. We'll do full band, acoustic,
okay.
whatever. But I just turned my attention towards playing those road shows, and it's been a very rewarding. I'm glad I did it. It ended up being the right move.
No, for
I
sure,
actually
because
had I sorry to interrupt you. I actually had a publisher not too long ago that I had a meeting with, and he told me, he said you need to get on the road. He said you need to get out of playing so much in Nashville, and you need to get on the road and make those fans one at a time. And that's what we really focused on these past 2 months. I think I've been in quite a few different cities, man. It's been pretty crazy, but it's been fun.
Yeah, and the thing is, to me, and it's one of the reasons I'm just so happy to have you back on the show. It's because the more people that get to see you or hear your music, they're going to be like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I need to hear more of that. I need to see more of that." So I think it's great that you're getting out on the road. And even though I've only been in southwestern Florida for a short time, I'm going to find some venues and I'm going to find some
Please
places
do.
and get back in touch with you
Please
about
do.
that because I know that this is big country music, country, down here, obviously,
Yeah.
if you will. And more importantly, it's about getting you out and about and having more people have a chance to hear your music
I'm
because,
dead serious, man. You after our interview, I want you message me, text me, email me, whatever you want to do. You send me a couple places if you want to talk
okay,
to them. That'd be great. But I'll call them if I need to. I don't mind. We'll
okay,
do it.
no, hey,
Make it.
that's fantastic. I definitely will. And when we turn off the camera, we're obviously going to have some more stuff we're going to have to talk about then. And I'm looking forward to that too. But one of the things I remember saying to you in our last conversation was as I was listening to some of the cuts off of Wanted Man, and I just remember thinking, man, this stuff kicks butt. This is some kick butt country. And I remember saying to you, your music is KBC, kick butt country. And now here we go, fast forward with Truck Around. You've taken it to a whole new level with these cuts, man. How do you do it?
Well, honestly, it kind of ties to the last point we're just making about playing the live shows. I've always been, or always at least felt like a live show act. If you want to figure out what I'm about, if you want to figure out what my band's about or what my music's about, coming to see me live is the best way to do it. And sometimes that's hard to translate over to a record. Sometimes it's hard to, some guys and girls are so good at conveying what they want to say on a record. and then, but I'm a live show guy. You want to figure out what I am, come see me live. And it reflects in the records I make. Truck Around, just a silly truck about a pickup song, or just a silly song about a pickup truck, but it resonates with people. I mean, when we first released that song, I was doing a show down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, for example. We played that song 3 times. This song had just dropped. We played it three
Wow.
times that night, and by the third time, when they were shouting truck around," and I go, "You guys really want to hear that silly pickup truck song again?" And they were eating it up, man. And with country and rock and roll and R&B and hip hop, it's those simple ideas that really resonate with people. It's those simple ideas that really stick with people. So I can be the guy that does the she misses being misses, and then I can do the guy that be the
Yeah.
guy that does truck around, and there's room for all of that. So I appreciate you noticing, man. We really try to bring the energy. I have to credit Brandon Hood for doing a great job producing a lot of this record. Grady Saxman had some stuff he produced on it. This album ended up kind of being where we would take some songs that we had cut that we hadn't singled out yet, and we attached them to what we did with Brandon, and they just fit perfectly. Like Honky Tonk Hall of Fame was
Yeah.
one I cut. I cut Honky Tonk Hall of Fame almost 2 years ago, and it's crazy to see that song finally get a day in the sun, man.
Wow. Well, I have to tell you, and I got to look down at my fitness playlist. Must have had a good time. Make
Yes, sir.
That Move, Honky Tonk Hall of Fame, Hank You, and Truck Around are all on my
Sure.
workout playlist because if they don't get your
Nice.
blood flow moving, you need to go see a doctor, get a physical.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Bill. I appreciate you saying that, man.
Yeah. And the other thing is, and you kind of touched on it earlier when you were talking about the different genres, like Make That Move. Like I just described that song as one that makes you want to move. Like it's
Yeah.
all these different kind of things you blend together. And the other piece that I think I can't help but think people are going to really notice are your vocals, your range, your voice. And I know last time we talked, that comes from singing from a very early age and all the way up to this day. I mean, that's something. How are you able to maintain the range and the voice the way you are?
Well, I think I I try to take as best care of my voice as I can, but I also don't leave anything off the table. I mean, when I play live, I sing my heart out every single night, whether I'm singing to 5 people or whether I'm singing to 5,000. I just kind of I go out there and I try to let it rip as much as I can, man. I do a credit. My mom's a great singer. Most of the people in my mom's side of the family can sing. And so I was raised in a household where I was always listening to singing. And I started singing, like you mentioned, I started singing in church when I was about 6 years old. And I've been doing it pretty much ever since. And I started doing it for I would say around the age of 19.
Hmm.
And from 19 until now, I'm still doing it. I've had odd jobs here and there, but I've pretty much always been able to pay my bills with music, and that's been a blessing. And it's also been kind of, how do you say this? It's been almost like that fact that I needed to pay my bills with it made
Hmm.
me get better, if that makes sense. The
Wow.
fact that it
No,
was
it
like,
does.
hey man, this is how, if I'm ever going to be any kind of successful businessman in life, this is how it's going to be. It's
Yeah.
gonna come from this. I feel like the Lord's really blessed me with the talent, but it takes a work ethic too. For anybody out there listening who's young and wants to get into the music business, it takes. I'm going to tell you this right now. It takes a lot more than being a good singer to be the guy or girl. I mean, it takes a lot of moving parts and a lot
Yeah.
of hard work. And you have to be the hardest working one. You have to be the one that's the hardest working one. And it does. I've also got a great team. We were talking about Scott earlier.
Hmm.
Scott's a great, 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 become one of my best friends. He's helped me tremendously. Um, and that's it. It's all those missing pieces together, man. It is.
Yeah, and that's such a great point about, you have to be the hardest working one because no one else is going to be as invested in you as you are, and no one has as much at stake as you do. So I think that's a great point and a great message. And I also think that in today's world, or at least going back over the last few years, where it seems like you turn on country radio and there's maybe 8 or 10 songs on the rotation over and over and over again. So
Yeah.
just getting your music out, just being out, doing those things you talked about earlier is more critical than ever. The social media, where anything more than a 90-second clip is considered a feature-length film these days. I mean, it's
And that's a great point, Bill. And you know, the thing about it is also is, you know, you talked about being the hardest working one. When you also have to, if you're doing that, you inspire the people around you to want to
yeah,
work harder. You know, which is a good thing always. And if you talk about the social media, social media to me is a very tricky thing. I love social media, but sometimes I dislike it
mm,
because it has oversaturated our daily lives. You know, humans consume more information in a tiny fraction of the time that people 100 years ago ever did. You know,
yeah.
we probably see more information per day now than people did 100 years ago in 10 years.
That's a
You
great
know,
perspective.
so
Yeah,
so it's crazy, man. You know, and I think that humanity's adapting and evolving to understand that, like, you know, you scrolling through your reels and you see something really sad and it makes you depressed, and then you see something really happy and it says that up and down, that up and
yeah,
down. I think humans are slowly starting to adapt to that, and I hope we do, man, because it's a crazy business, you know.
yeah.
And they asked Jason Aldean in an interview not too long ago what his least favorite part of the music business was, and he said social media. You know, and I'm not saying that because somebody like me, I need social media. You know, I need it to get my music heard. He's already big, huge
Yeah,
star, and really was when social media was in its infancy. Jason Aldean was coming out. You know, I
yeah.
remember MySpace as a little kid and stuff like that. But he came out at a time when it was a little different. So
No, for sure.
social media is important for guys like me. You know,
Yeah,
but it's also I go, you know, this sucks sometimes. You know.
yeah, it's a double-edged sword. And I
It
know myself, like there's times when, and so many people, whether it's musicians, singers, songwriters, comedians, I've had a lot of comedians on the show the last couple of years, and they will have the funniest 45 or 50-minute special. But the way they have to drive people to it is put out 30 and 40-second clips of their individual jokes and hope they can start driving traffic to the longer stuff because of our short attention spans. So it is
Double-edged
what it
sword
is.
explains it perfectly. Double-edged sword explains it perfectly. What you
Yeah,
said. There's
yeah,
so much good, but some bad about it too. Yeah,
yeah. No,
it is.
absolutely. And
We're all dealing with it. We're all dealing with it. You know, we're all in the same boat.
yeah, and I'm just glad for one thing, I'm glad that we have it so that we can have conversations like this, and I can have this show that, for the last 8 years, I've had a blast doing, getting to know people like yourself. And I'd be remiss though if I didn't ask about something we touched on a little bit earlier.
Yes,
And
sir.
I just want to make sure we get it out there because word on the streets, there's another project in the works. So what can you tell us
Yeah.
about that?
Well, so I'm so excited that you asked, Bill. So I met um, a fella named Phil O'Donnell about 6 or 7 months ago now. Phil is a producer and songwriter in Nashville. Very, very well respected guy. Phil's got songs he's written with George Strait for George Strait,
Mm,
for Blake Shelton, number ones. I'm talking about number ones. So Blake Shelton, George Strait, Montgomery Gentry, Craig Morgan. He's produced most of Craig Morgan's hit songs, if not all of them. I'm not exactly sure, but either most or all of them. Phil is a super well respected guy. My manager introduced me to him, and we started writing together. And it just kind of made sense that we would go and record some songs together. And he and I have become really good friends, and he's become a mentor to me. He's a great man, both personally and professionally.
wow.
Very, 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 very Christian, very upstanding and moral. Very straight shooter, great songwriter. You know, just a wonderful guy, and one of my best friends. And we started working on this EP. We actually recorded this new project at Soundstage, which is on Music Row, and it was my first time ever cutting on Music Row. And man, I remember walking into that recording studio and just being like, man. And the engineer, a guy named Drew, who's engineering this project, just a phenomenal engineer, man. he said, "Yeah, you like that sound booth?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, Kelsey Ballerini was in it about 2 days ago." And I was like, "That's
Wow.
awesome, man!" And a lot of people are cutting their records at Soundstage, and it's just a great place. The band that was on this new record was fantastic, and I'm super, super, super proud. I think this is going to go down, and I know every artist says this, but I feel like this is going to go down as my best work yet. I'm really excited for the future, whether it's with a label, whether it's independent still. I'm going to put this music out either way and show it to the world, and I think everybody's going to like it.
That is fantastic. That is great news to hear, Trey. So I'm curious, is anything in terms of a timeline as to when we might hear the first cut off the
It
EP?
all it all depends. It all depends on we're shopping the record around.
Okay.
We're trying to get some we're trying to get some more team. Let's leave it at that. We're trying to get
Okay.
some more team to join in.
Sure.
Uh, if we can, then I guess it would be kind of a group decision when we're going to release
Okay.
it. And if we don't, if we end up, getting some more no's, which it's in the music business, that's
Yeah.
perfectly possible. But if we do get that, we're going to release it independently, and be sometime towards the later part of this year,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah,
Well, and
but it's
anybody.
coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, Trey, like I said, whether it's you look at the lyrics, you look at the music, the melodies, the hooks, your vocals.
Yeah,
If enough people can say, okay, yeah, we want to join the team, we want to get on board, I suggest they go have their hearing checked, their eyesight checked. There's something that's definitely wrong.
thanks.
So I wish you all the best with that. And I'm very confident that there's going to be enough people in the right places that are going to jump on board and help take things to that next level for you, because that's where you're headed. It's just a
It's nice
question
to
of
hear
when.
that.
It's not if, it's when.
It's nice to hear you say it, man. I think I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't deal with imposter syndrome sometimes. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of
Oh,
that term.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not confident. Very, very confident in my abilities. It's always like, why do I deserve this and
Mm,
some other guy or girl doesn't deserve it? And I think a little bit of luck goes a long way in this business. I think
yeah.
at the end of the day, a little bit of luck goes a long way in this business. And so if I get a little lucky, that'd be great. If I don't, I'll die an old man and say I tried. I gave it my best shot. I gave it everything I had, and it just wasn't in the cards. But I think, and I'm hoping and praying that you're right. That the time is coming where the whole world will get to hear this music.
Well,
And I
I
hope.
believe it to be so, Trey, or I wouldn't have said it. And I will also share with you real quick before I get to my next point, that imposter syndrome. I will tell you, I've heard that brought up 3 or 4 times over the years by different guests I've had on. And I will tell you, for what it's worth, they all had one thing in common. They were incredibly talented. They all worked incredibly hard. And it blew me away if they would think that way or feel that way. But there was that common thread, because there's some people that maybe could or should have it, but they don't. And
Yeah.
many of the ones that
Yeah.
do,
A little
it's,
overconfident. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
it's like, okay.
Overconfident is
And
a
I'll,
overconfident is a silver
I
bullet.
do, I want to enjoy every conversation I have, but there's a few I've had along the way where I'm like, okay. But anyway, no,
Humility. I got to be honest with you, Bill. I mean, when I was 20, I didn't have that imposter syndrome. I thought I was the best thing since sliced bread, and life has tempered me.
mm,
It's like a piece of steel in a fire, in a get being blacksmithed. It's like
yeah,
the music business and life in general has tempered me. And so I'm appreciative of everything that happens to me, and just humble, and when you're at a show, let me give you an analogy. When you're at a show and 10 people run up to the stage and go, "We want to hear Hank You," or "We want to hear Truck Around," or "We want to hear She Misses Being Mrs." That's like, man, I am actually doing something. Something's really
yeah,
happening here. It's happening in front of my face. And I think what a lot of artists tend to do is they're too busy looking at the mountaintop that they don't realize that the whole
yes,
thing of what it's all really about is the journey. Like, I'm in it right now. I
yeah,
may wake up one day and my wife and I not be able to go to McDonald's without us getting mobbed, and we'll be like, oh, but at the same time, like, this is the time in our lives when we're nobodies, and when we're like, hey man, we're missing it. I think a lot of times people
Yeah.
are so focused on the end goal that they don't pay attention to the middle part.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and it's one of those things where you'll see it on a lot of bumper stickers and coffee mugs or T-shirts about enjoying the journey, but you actually have to take the time to do it.
Yeah. And I really have learned to do that. I like, for example, I played a show last night in Myrtle Beach. I'm in Myrtle Beach right now, traveling. Like I said, I'm driving to Florida tomorrow, and then Nashville got CMA Fest in a couple weeks. I'm really excited about. But last night the show went really good, and my wife and son, at the end of the show, my wife and son were hanging out with me and the band while we were breaking down, while we were loading our stuff up. And my son looked at me and he said, "I'm so proud of you, Dad. You're the best dad in the world. You're a rock star." He said that to me.
Wow.
And I said, and I just stopped and paused for a second. I was like, God has blessed me with the world's best son and wife and life. It's like all of the times when I'm unappreciative and bitter and angry about, my career or whatever, those are the moments where it's like, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's cool to get to talk about it. And when he said what he said, it filled me with this humongous sense of pride in him. It's like, my son, it doesn't matter if I'm a real rock star or not ever. My son thinks I am one. That's good enough. Yeah, so it's
Wow.
cool, man. It's cool, Bill. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and what's
Yeah,
even
and I got this, like, this just overwhelming sense of pride in him in that moment. It was cool. And
I think
myself. And it made me proud of myself, So
well, and I think it says
I'll
a
quit
lot
being all
about
mushy on. I'll quit being all sentimental
no,
on you.
no, Trey. Here's the thing. I think it says a lot about you that you reacted and felt the way you did about that. I mean, that says more, I think, in how you reacted to that than a lot of other things could, and how you genuinely felt and just communicated that. So, kudos to you for being who you are and for feeling that way about that, because that is as good as it gets. Because
Yes, sir.
as many parents know, sometimes the people who compliment us the least can be our
Our
kids.
kids. Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, he's right in that middle ground of being a kid, being my little buddy, and
Yeah,
being a teenager. He's right in that middle ground. And I've done I know you understand this, Bill. You're an entertainer too. It's hard to juggle being a super present father and
mhm,
doing what we do for a living, touring, traveling, interviews, making records. It's hard to balance the both.
yeah,
I always call it being the guy and then being dad. But I think I hope that I've done a good job. I think if you were to ask him, he would say yes, and I think that's going to roll over into those teenage years. At least I hope so.
yeah,
I know I was kind of a rebellious teenager. Once I hit about 14, I started wanting to go play in them country music bars and try to show the world what I could do. And I was a little bit rebellious, and I'm prepared for him to be, but I always want him to know, like I knew, that my dad was always the safe place I could run to
mm,
talk and figure out life and stuff. And I hope he understands that. I'll always be that for him. You know.
yeah. And I think Trey, what you can, my son is 33 now,
Well,
and I will tell you, I think the best thing you can do is lay the foundation and instill all that you can while they're young in those years, and hope and reinforce as best you can as they enter those teen years and things where they kind of know everything. But I think if you laid that proper foundation and stay present as much as you can when you're around, and like you said, be that person he knows he can always go to, you can't do any more than that, in my opinion.
yeah, man. It's those after school, they seem like small things, but like those after school little fishing trips where I'll throw me and his fishing poles and my tackle box in the back of my truck, and I'll pick him up from school and I'll say, "Hey, let's go down to the river real fast," and or, let's just do so. And even if we don't catch nothing, which I hate not catching anything, I'll be honest with you. But if we don't, we still spent that time together, and the camping trips. I try to take him on a couple of camping trips a year. Just those little things like that, teaching him how to build a fire, teach him how to do all this. It's that's what being a dad to me it means, because I had that example,
Yeah.
So I do. I think it's I'm prepared. I know it's the time's coming when he'll rather hang out with his buddies or his girlfriend or whatever. But I'll always be here. His old man will always be here.
Well, that's all I think a son could ask for is knowing that his dad will always be there. So kudos to you, Trey, for that. Now I have one last quick thing I want to ask you about
I'll
before
talk
we
to you
wrap
all
up
day, Bill. I
our
love talking to you.
conversation. No,
I'll
well,
talk to you as long as you want,
here's
buddy.
the thing, and this goes back to the whole social media thing, is that again, some of the best conversations I've had are the longer ones. But you know as well as I do, some people will look at a
Yeah.
video and they'll say, "Oh my God, it's over 18 minutes or over 25 minutes or
Yeah.
over 30 minutes or whatever," and they'll keep scrolling. But
Yeah.
luckily, we get enough of them that do hang in there with us for a while, so it's okay.
Well, like I said, man, I'll talk. Well, what time is it right now? I've got until 1 o'clock, man. I'll talk to you as much as you want, buddy. You
Well,
take you take your time. You ask me every question you want to ask.
Well, there's one more that I wanted to ask because it's something that's coming up real soon, and that's the Country for a Cause event, which is coming up
Sure.
on June 3rd. So, what's it like getting to be a part of that great event?
Well, man, I this will be my second year playing it, and Country for a Cause to me is like such a big deal. I remember when I first moved to Nashville. This was before, and I'll say this. He'll this will make him laugh. This was before I wasn't a big deal yet enough for Scott to work with me because that's how awesome he is of a publicist. And I was just sitting there going, man, I would love to play this show. I'd love to do this. And then getting into this camp with these people who do what they do, it just it's amazing. Uh, a lot of my friends are on the show, like people that are on the same level with me that are all working our butts off, and then there's these people who are just these legends, country music legends, and so it's just incredible, man. I mean, it's incredible to kind of sit around and see like all these people that I like grew up listening to on the radio. I'm like backstage with them, hanging out now, and it's an incredible feeling. And that's part of that imposter syndrome too. You sit around and you go,
Yeah.
man, why me, man? You're hanging out back there with Mark Wills or the Oak Ridge Boys. I mean, it's insane, man. I think Hannah Dasher's going to be on there this year. I don't know if you know who that is. She's awesome, man. She's kind of that '70s throwback
Oh
thing going.
yeah, yeah.
I look forward to. I haven't met her yet. I'm looking forward to meeting her. It's going to be a great year. I'm excited for this one.
And it's, in addition to it being a great cause, and I believe proceeds go to Vanderbilt Children's
Yeah.
Hospital, if I recall correctly, but it's also, like you said, when you look at the lineup, and many of those folks have been on the show, some of them several times. Some
Yeah.
of the best people, not just in the music business, just some
Yeah.
of the best people, period, you'll ever meet. So when you have a great cause and a great lineup, at some point, I got to get my butt to Nashville to be part of it myself.
Well, and there seems to be a very dedicated fan base of people that come to this show every single year. They really,
Yeah.
really get excited about it. I mean, it's at Third and Lindsley is a legendary club. Some of the best musicians in Nashville get to play there. I remember seeing the Time Jumpers. I remember meeting Joe Spivey at there, and then what was crazy about that is so Spivey. For those of you who might know, Spivey. Is a fiddle player. Played on all of John Anderson's hits. Played on like Seminole Wind. That's him playing
Ooh.
fiddle on the Seminole Wind part. Just a monster in Nashville as far as just legendary session players and live too. I mean, plays Texas swing like nobody's business, man.
Hmm.
And what was crazy is I saw him with the Time Jumpers and he was on stage with Vince Gill. And then somebody gave me his number because I needed a fiddle player for our show on Friday night at the local. And I called him up, and he was excited and came play with me. And he ended up playing with us for about 6 months on that gig. And then
Wow.
he called me up. He called me up one day because he's a little bit older of a gentleman. He called me up and he said, "Man, these Friday nights," he's like, young like you, man, these Friday nights, and then I got to get up and do sessions on Saturday morning, and I'm about half dead in there. And he bowed out gracefully. He's such a class act, but he hung in there for about 6 months and just would
Wow.
rock it with us every Friday night, man. And I said, man, for you say you're older, but you don't play like it, man. He don't play like it. He plays like he's 25 still, man. And then he ended up playing on Honky Tonk Hall of Fame. That's him playing fiddle on
Oh,
Honky Tonk Hall.
wow.
So it's pretty cool to say the same guy that played Seminole Wind is on one of my records. It's like Brent Mason. It's that level, having Brent or
Yeah.
Tom Bukovac. Bukavac's on Truck Around. He's on Make That Move. Chris McHugh's on drums on a lot of this stuff. And McHugh's as famous as they come as far as drummers. He played with Keith Urban for a long time. And this new album I'm working on, I'm kind of excited to brag about. So Lonnie Wilson is a famous drummer. He played for a long time, I believe, with Reba. Don't quote me, but I think he played with Reba for a while. And he played on my first album. He played way back on the Carolina Man stuff. And it was kind of a full circle moment that when he came into the studio on this new stuff and just absolutely killed it. And Lonnie is as kind as he is talented. That's a big one with me, Bill. That's a big one with me. I don't like big timers. I don't like the people that big time you. I don't like the people that don't have the time to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of patience for that. And Lonnie has just always been, hey man, what's your name? You're Trey Calloway. It's so wonderful to meet you, man. I love this stuff we're playing on today. It's great. And he told me when we cut this new album we're working on now, he said, man, your songwriting has come a long way. The songs you're cutting have come a long way. He said that first stuff was great. He said, but it was unpolished. And that's true. He's right. That first Carolina Man, a lot of that stuff was just written by me. It was just a kid writing songs, without so much information about how to structure a song, what goes into a song. And he came up to me this last time. He said, man, your songs have just come a long way, man. I'm proud of you. It was nice to hear Lonnie say that, man. Yeah.
Oh man, it doesn't get any better than that, especially considering who he is and what he's done. Man. Yeah, no,
and it makes you want to go into that vocal booth and just sing your heart out for that man. It does. It makes you want to go in there and be like, all right, man, I belong here. Let's do this. It's a good feeling.
Bingo, and you absolutely belong, Trey. And again, your journey, while it's been great so far, is just getting started. And I think the really cool thing is I'm looking forward to getting together as often as we can on Zoom, but more importantly, in person, continuing to have these great conversations, continuing to watch your career grow and progress. And I know we've got a couple things we're going to talk about when we turn the camera off, but for right now, I just want to thank you for taking the time to join me. Wish you all the best. Truck Around. Again, folks, get it wherever you get your music. It is KBC, Kick Butt Country. Get Truck Around and be on the lookout for this new project, hopefully coming out by the end of the year. And if you're in or around Nashville on June 3rd, Country for a Cause, Trey and a whole lot of friends of the show are going to be doing some great things for a great cause. So, Trey, thanks again for joining me, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. It's been a pleasure and an honor. God bless you, and you take care of yourself, man.
Yeah, God bless you too. And folks, we thank you for watching. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. We'll see you next time. Opened up his bloodshot red eyes, and it felt like a jackhammer pounding my head. Where did this tattoo come from? I can't remember one thing I've done, but judging by the bar receipt I just found from last night, I must have had a good time. We went downtown to hear some blues, was just gonna have us a beer or two, and Tony ordered all of us a shot on me. It all went downhill from there, those Jaeger bombs and a smoky air sure did a number on my memory. I must have had a good time last night, gotta clear the cobweb from my mind. Opened up his bloodshot red eyes, and it felt like a jackhammer pounding my head. Where did this tattoo come from? I can't remember one thing I've done, but judging by the bar receipt I just found from last night, yeah, we must have had a good time. I'm gonna have to find my phone, call my buddy for a ride. No, I don't remember, but this sure
I had a good time last night. Gotta clear the cobwebs from my mind. Opened up his bloodshot red eyes and it felt like a jackhammer pounding my